Today we are coming to you from the heart of America's New South, Charlotte, North Carolina. The city has an incredibly rich history, and it all starts with its namesake, Queen Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. In this episode, we are talking about the life and influence of America's last queen. We'll be answering questions about why this woman was so important and why Charlotteans still look to her as their representative. She's the creator of centuries-old traditions that we still celebrate all over the world, and she's the subject of controversies debated by artists and historians. You're watching The History Gal. My name is Christine Morgan, and I'd like to welcome you to the Queen City. All right, history lovers, first things first. Who is Queen Charlotte? Well, Charlotte was born in 1744 in Miro, Germany, which is a small city in the territory of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. As a child, Charlotte wasn't especially well educated, but she did receive the basics in subjects like history and botany. She even developed a great love for music and the arts. As was the tradition, royal families still practiced arranged marriages in the 1700s. So, in 1761, at the age of just 17, Charlotte married King George III of England and became his queen consort. Now, in a rare twist, Charlotte and George were actually very happy together. Their marriage lasted 57 years, and Charlotte gave birth to 15 children. Charlotte and George both loved the arts and fostered the early careers of composers like Mozart and Johann Christian Bach. Charlotte was the reigning queen when the American colonies declared independence in 1776. By the time she died in 1818, she was well loved because of her patronage to music and the arts, her love of botany, which brought the American colonies the tradition of decorating Christmas trees, and her opening of orphanages and hospitals for women, which have allowed her legacy to live on well into the 21st century. To better understand the legacy of Queen Charlotte, I'm sitting down with my friend Bethany Holt Gregory to get her take on the topic. Charlotte has this cool nickname. We call ourselves the Queen City.
Yes.
And I love that. We take a lot of pride in that. How did we get that nickname? Where did that come from?
In 1896, one of the owners and publishers for Charlotte Observer had a great idea, and he said, hey, what if we actually have a group of women, very well-educated, well-known women within the city, actually take over the newspaper for a few weeks and write a special edition of the Mecklenburg Decoration Celebration. And some people thought he was crazy, especially in 1896 for a group of women to take over a newspaper.
Yeah, it's surprising. That's a very public position for women to be taking in the American South, in the workplace.
The newspaper ended up being a huge success. It was within that newspaper they started referring to the city as the Queen City this, the Queen City that. So with that being said, it stuck. And there was a huge increase with that nickname, the Queen City, following the publication of that newspaper in that special edition.
So what are we looking at in terms of where we start with Queen Charlotte's appearance?
And who she actually was.
And who
what she actually looked like.
Exactly.
One thing that's very interesting about Charlotte, her portraits are extremely inconsistent. There is not two portraits that look alike. From a historian standpoint, one of the best things to actually measure what someone truly looked like was to actually read about what people wrote about him or her when they physically saw that royal figure.
Like diaries, journals, poetry.
Journals, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, okay.
And so, with Queen Charlotte for years, she was portrayed as a very fair-skinned woman, blue eyes, blonde hair. So, there came a time where there was a portrait painted of her by Alan Ramsey, and she appeared more African.
Okay.
She had darker skin, darker eyes, brown hair, bit curly. So this brought me to the question to say, okay, well, what did she look like?
Sure.
And sure enough, when you actually look at people's diaries and journals from the day, they actually describe her as Alan Ramsey painted her. When that portrait made its way over to the U.S. and into scholars' hands, people started to think, well, if she's looking like she is from Black descent, what does this mean?
Right.
And so actually in the 1930s, a historian did some work, and they actually found out that Charlotte is descent of a Portuguese line.
Portuguese. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah. Now what's also interesting about Alan Ramsey is he was an abolitionist. So when Alan Ramsey was called to actually paint her, he wanted to paint her with her darker features because he wanted to show the rest of the world that during this period of abolitionism, she is a queen that stands for all people.
Thanks for watching today. I hope our episode shed some light for you on America's last queen, Charlotte of Mecklenburg, who was and is a symbol of education and diversity. Guys, don't forget to like our Facebook page, The History Gal, and you can tweet your thoughts and comments to me at #TheHistoryGal, or just leave a question in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel with the big red subscribe button underneath this video. Until next time, when we come back with an all-new episode, I'm Christine Morgan. Y'all have a great week.